Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Eurodance like DJ Heartstring. Berlin-based duo absolutely dominate the Eurodance space. They have tons of hits under their belts, such as Don't Stop, It Ain't Over, and the track we're covering today, Green Wide Open. Let's make their track Green Wide Open from scratch. Great, so you want to set the BPM of your project to 145. This is essential because you want the track to be fast and pumping. Great, so already in the track I have this vocal. Very simple, but it's the vocal they use in their track. Great, so step one is the drums. So we want to click right, insert a new MIDI track, and then right click and insert some MIDI we can play with. So insert MIDI clip. And we want to lay a kick on every beat like this, all the way across. Today I'm going to be using Eurotrance Drums Volume 2. This pack makes it really easy for you to make Eurotrance just like DJ Heartstring, DJ Trance, and all the other pros. The link for that is in the description. Great, let's have a look through the kicks. This one sounds good, looks like nice and thumpy. Just turn it down. Great, so let's insert a new MIDI clip, and the clap will be on every second beat like this. Let's then find a clap from the pack. I like the sound of this, so double click that. Now we can work on the hi-hat, so insert a new MIDI clip, and on every offbeat, we want the hi-hat to hit, so that'll be here. Duplicate that across, and let's look for a hat. I think that first one, number 7. Great, now we need a shaker, so insert MIDI, drag this clip down, and we want a shaker like this, so it's really quick. And let's just adjust the velocities to give it sort of up and down effect, and then let's just duplicate that across like we had before. Go to our shakers, and I like the sound of this one, so just drag that in. Great, and now we need some side chains. Let's go to Kickstart. I just find this the easiest. So Nicky Romero, Kickstart. You can also just use a compressor. Sounds good to me. Lots of energy. Great, now let's go to the loops and let's find a top loop. That's really cool. Let's try that. Great, I think that bell might be out of tune with the vocal, so let's just copy this bit, or you can just duplicate it across. Nice, we can always bring that bell back later, and it's hard to tell without the bass if it's in tune. Great, so what we could then do is spice up some extra claps. So again, let's just get the clap MIDI. Let's just mute these, and then we can add in some sort of spicy claps. So something like this. And again, let's select a clap. Maybe some extra notes here. Maybe move this here. Let's bring that down. I'm going to select a different clap, one that's got a little bit more hiss. There you go, perfect. And that is it. You can also add even more sort of claps. You just dot them about like this. Sounds pretty good, to be fair. Let's just keep it at that. Great, now I'm just going to add a little bit of reverb. So let's just group everything but the kick. Let's send this to a bus channel. So let's go drums, reverb, drums room, drag that on, delete the one that's on there. This is in A, so we can just drag this up here. We want it to be subtle, so you almost can't hear it. Great, so now let's hear the drums together. Perfect. Now we can work on the bass. Great, so let's insert a new MIDI track. I'm just going to do it with the kick so we can group it later. And let's open up Serum 2. Today I'm going to be using the Eurodance Volume 2 Serum preset pack. This pack is one of, if not my favorite packs I've done. It just has so many good sounds in it. Like I've done loads of remakes from stuff by like Ben Emsley, DJ Daddy Trance, tons and tons of DJ Heartstring remakes. I've got like Lichtenberg, Last Time Under Purple Skies. We've got Good Love by Hannah Lang. We've got Forteventura by DJ Heartstring. There's just so many good presets in here. We've even got Let's Just by Tommy Farrow. Cool, so I'm just going to select the bass green. So this was specifically made for this track and is obviously a remake of their bass. So now let's insert a MIDI. I'm just going to duplicate this across because the MIDI is quite long. So let's insert a new MIDI clip. Great, so this is what the preset sounds like. So we're in the key of D minor, so let's just pop that in. I always find it easier when you've got these yellow lines coming across and you can see what the notes are. You can fold it like this, so all of these notes work, but I found that really confusing because I've obviously started from this before when I first started production. Great, so once you've got the scale in, we can focus on the first note, which is the root note of D. So you want a hit here, and then this is zoom in, and then you want a double hit, and then a hit here, so it's gonna sound like this. And then you want a note here, 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 and here. This rhythm just repeats itself. So then we move up to the F, the same rhythm. And then down to the B flat, same rhythm. And that extends up to the C. And then there's a slight change. So on the second half, we go back to the D, and then we go down to the G. And it's using all the different notes and having sort of a variation in the second half, which DJ Heartstring use a lot, and it sort of helps to create more emotion with the listener. So let's hear it. And then normally people repeat it. So yeah, down here, then it goes from the G up to the B flat, and then finishes on the C. And C is always a great note to finish on if you can. So let's hear it all together. Great, so the pre-drop is actually slightly different notes. Let's grab this MIDI and we're gonna change it. They do this to sort of build tension. They just use one note that keeps repeating itself. So let's just get that out now. So just grab that, duplicate, and ping that across, like so. Great, and the note they use, instead of using the D, is the B flat, also known as A sharp. So take this off, A sharp. Yeah, it just helps to create sort of tension. And then on the final note, they actually bring that up to here on the C. Again, as I said earlier, it's really good to finish on the C if you can. So let's hear that. Bring the vocal in. Great, so now we've got the main drop going and this little bass in the prelude. We're going to work on the ARP. So I'm going to build this prelude out a bit later. We'll get into that after we've done this. So we've got this sort of lead sound that comes in. So let's go back to Serum. And of course, this is already a preset in that Eurodance 2 pack. The preset's called Green Wide Open. So obviously if you've got this pack, you can just use that. So let's again open up a new MIDI. Cool, let's bang in our scale. So D minor. Great, so with this lead sound, we're starting on F and we're going up to the C. It's going to sound like this. And I just want that to repeat like this. Great, so for this end section here, the notes go A, F, E, and we finish on the C. It's going to sound like this. Great, so now we've got that first section. We need to duplicate across, and we're going to change these end notes slightly. So we're just going to shift this up an octave, and we're going to shift the C up an octave. So it's going to sound like this. And then that just repeats itself on and on and on. So yeah, those are the notes for the ARP. So we've already got this tension bass. What we can do here is add an auto filter. I'm going to take out some of the low end. Let's just grab this. Like this. Then have that drop. And we can do something similar with the drums. Just grab everything but the kick, so all these bottom layers. Make a little snip here. And auto filter again, and let's have this fading in. So take out high end and have it fading in like this, and then here the full blam. So what we can also do is add some reverb. So let's chuck some reverb on both the bass and the drums. So let's just grab any sort of reverb, doesn't really matter. It's the stock one. Grab the automation on the drums, so you can put them in their own sort of space. And then when they hit in the bass, or in the drop, sorry, there'd be a lot more mono. So adjusting it slightly. And let's do the same on the drums. So I just drag that over from the bass onto the drums. We could have something going on with this ARP as well. Again, we could just try to use an auto filter. Something like this. It's also meant it's a lot quieter, so in the drop it has more impact. Cool, so now we have that. Let's add some sort of building effect. So some white noise and that sort of stuff. So let's just go to Eurodance and let's go for some snare builds. Sample a few different ones. Let's cut it there, and then add a riser, maybe this one. And then we want a down riser. So let's have this, and then let's reverse it, and some sidechain, kickstart. And let's also add the same kickstart to both the drums and the ARP. So I'm just going to drag this over. Might need to bring it down a little bit. So I'm just on the drums currently. Let's bring it down to here like 40%. And then on this lead, about there. What I'm going to do to this lead is add an effect, and it's a preset from a third party called Endless Smile. Grab this, drag this in. Cool, and one last thing I'm going to do is add a crash. So let's just go find a crash. That'll do. Bang that in. Maybe add a little bit of room reverb. So let's drag it into with the drums. Cool, so let's hear what we've got. The mix isn't going to be 100% because these headphones are absolute dog shit. Anyway, let's hear what we've got. Great guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something new in this video. I will see you next week for another banger. Cheers.